I'm Taylor White, and this is my video assignment. I'm a care manager for UHS working in the readmission prevention program. This patient has been referred to me by the physician because he thought that the client would be a good fit for the program. She lacks some social supports at home, and there's some social issues that need to be addressed after her surgery. So I'm going to meet with her at her home for the first time today. Come in. Hi, Elizabeth Woodruff?
Yes, that's
Hi.
me. Hi.
I'm Taylor White. It's really nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Do you mind if I take a seat right here?
Go ahead. You're fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great, thanks.
So, first off, let me just start with, what do you like being called? Do you like Elizabeth, Liz? What do you want me
Liz
to call
is
you?
fine.
Liz?
Liz is good.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
And you can just call me Taylor. That's fine with
Okay.
me. I'll just give you a little bit of a background on why I'm here
Okay.
and what we'll be talking about today. I also just wanted to inform you that this is just going to be kind of a brief session today, about approximately 15 minutes, just so we can meet each other and we'll see what your needs are.
Okay, that's perfect, because actually my mom's stopping over in like 20 minutes.
Okay,
so.
great. Perfect. So I'm from UHS, and what I do is I'm a care coordinator for our readmission prevention program. So what our goal is to keep you out of the hospital. We don't want you to have to keep getting readmitted. I also know that you just had surgery, so why don't you tell me a little bit about that and what happened there?
Yeah, well, I certainly don't want to go back to the hospital if I can help. Sorry about my clock.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I had an appendectomy. I had appendicitis. It was pretty bad. I started having pain, and then it was like around 7 p.m. Halloween night.
Okay.
And I got up and it was worse the next morning. It was like the evening time or whatever, and it was actually supposed to be the weekend with my son, but I was so sick I ended up telling my ex-husband not to drop him off. So the next morning I went to the walk-in, and sure enough, my appendix was about to burst.
Oh
so
my gosh.
yeah, it was so painful. So I went in, they did an emergency surgery, but then I had complications with the stitching.
Okay.
They stitched part of my muscle by mistake.
Oh.
And so I had a little internal bleeding. They did re-stitch me, but they had to observe me for a few days. I ended up staying in the hospital for 8 days.
Okay,
So
that's quite a while that you were there then.
Yeah, like I guess like normally it's the healing time is long, but the hospital time is usually pretty short with these surgeries. But because of those issues, like I'm so frustrated with them. But
I can imagine how frustrating that would be, having to get a surgery and then they...
I know you're from UHS, so I'm not trying to like slam them or anything.
No.
I'm like, how fast were you doing this work that you couldn't pay attention? So
it's frustrating when your procedures don't get done properly. So I can understand what you must be feeling right now.
Yeah, and I'm young. I'm only 29, so I feel like I'm like getting all these problems, and I'm like super overwhelmed, and I'm having issues with my son and my ex-husband, and all these things are going on, and then I was like sick on top of it. So you just had the surgery, but yeah, so that's just it with that. I am on bed rest. I do work, but I'm a bartender, so I'm right now to work for 2 more weeks, so I'm broke on top of everything else, and everything's just kind of compiling. But anyway, they told me about the program, and because before this, I was in the hospital for some mental health stuff. So I think like the way that the nurse was explaining it to me was that because I've been in the hospital quite a few times, like I had pneumonia a month before that, I think they think I come in all the time, which I don't mean to, but things are just kind of crazy.
Well, it seems like you've got a lot of stressors going on in your life right now that are piling up on you and almost pretty hard to deal with, it seems like.
Yeah, it is. And I'm like starting to wonder if the stress is like making me sicker, you know, almost. So
right.
I'm having like
Oh,
I'm
Liz.
kind of having a hard time, and I, like, like I said, it's just like one thing after another, so.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I know how much it can hurt having all of these things pile up on you. It seems like we're having some issues with the ex-husband and your child. That only complicates the recovery from surgery.
I've been having problems with that. My son's 2.5, and his father and I have not been together for almost 9 months. So, and the entire 9 months that we've been apart, he has just made it absolute hell to try to coordinate. I'm trying to keep everything out of court because Dr. Phil says once you get court involved, it's like, it's worse. So I'm trying to keep it out of court, but he's just nasty, and I have a hard time with that. And then when I got sick with my appendix and I had surgery, like, he made it even worse. Like, he wouldn't bring him in to see me. They even okayed my son to come in and see me, but he wouldn't bring him in because he was like, hospitals are terrible places. But it was just an excuse. Now I'm home, and he's just like, well, you know, what if he needs this? What if he needs that? My mom's really not much help either. I have been trying to have her help me with some stuff just because of the pain that I can't. It's like driving me crazy, but like I can't lift a lot of stuff. So like doing laundry and stuff, I can do it. It just takes me forever. But she's no help anyway because I've asked her to come over so that he doesn't have an excuse not to bring him over. Right. Like, he's such a jerk. It's ridiculous. So I'm like, well, if my mom's here, he can't say...
Maybe it'd be more of an incentive for him to bring him over.
Right. Like, there's someone else if he falls or he's he runs around. He's a toddler. So I get it. But, like, he still comes up with some excuse, or I'm working tonight and I don't have time, or whatever. So I'm super stressed about that, and, you know...
Do you feel like he's just trying to keep your son from you, or is it...
Absolutely, like...
Oh, Liz, I'm so sorry.
Thanks. Like, he's just, like... He's mad at me for the separation, and he's using my son against me. I know he is. I absolutely know he is. And then all these things start happening, and it's like... sorry about my cat.
Oh, that's okay.
She's super lovable. And then he's kind of using them, like, against me. And it's like, I can't help it. So I'm like, what kind of luck is this? Like, I'm trying to get everything together. Like, when I work, I make good money. I can take care of him by myself. But it's just...
I mean, you mentioned right now that you're out of work because of recovery time. So you can't be working. So that's got to be hard.
It is. And I'm like... It's just, like, another issue. And it's another thing that he does, too. Because he's very, like... Well, do you have groceries? I mean, do you even have money? Like, accusing me of being a bad mother. Because also, when we were together, like, right after my son was born, he has a daughter from a previous marriage. She's 7. CPS was called by his ex-wife. So, they did an investigation. Everything was unfounded, but because of that kind of tension in the air, my son was, like, 4 months old when that happened. So, it just turned into this, like, huge problem, and ever since then, like, we just weren't getting along, and he tries to throw that in my face like that's an issue. Like, I need to be worried about it, even though it was his ex and her issues, like, so he's always like, you know, if you can't take care of him, like, why would I bring him over there? Like, trying to make it seem like I'm a bad mother. Like, I'm not a bad mother. Like, my son has always come first. Always.
Right. If you need to just take a minute, that's fine.
I'm sorry. You don't even know me, and I'm like,
no.
I'm just so overwhelmed.
Never apologize for being upset about it. This is a very difficult thing that you're dealing with. I mean, you're not working. Your ex-husband is making things very difficult for you in order to see your son, and trying to make you feel like an inadequate mother, which I can tell even just from sitting here that you care very much about your son and his well-being.
I do.
And you're trying to do the best for him, and that would be to be able to recover fully. Do you have any idea of where you think that this will go with your ex-husband? Do you think that this is something that can be settled outside of court?
I'm trying to keep it out of court, but I did call a lawyer just to kind of, like, I mean, I haven't, like, done anything with it, but just to kind of, like, get a heads up, because it's not like, I don't want to not let my son see his dad. I just, like, if he can't establish the time and he's preventing me from seeing him, like, because I don't do that with him. Like, if it's my weekend, we usually alternate weekends. If it's my weekend and 6 p.m. he needs to be at his dad's, I'm there by 6 p.m.
Okay.
Like, and he's not doing that with me. So it's almost frustrating because it's like, do we, you know, go to a lawyer? My lawyer did say that, he said you don't need to go to court. Like, we can still do, like, custody stuff and paperwork without going to court. He said, so that might be what I have to do. I mean, I didn't know what else to do, so I called a lawyer. You know.
Right. It seems like you're in a really difficult spot, kind of trying to figure out whether or not you go to court or try to settle it outside.
I mean, was that the wrong thing to do? Call a lawyer? Or
Absolutely. I don't think in this situation there really is a wrong thing to do.
Okay.
I think it's all just subjective to you, and I want you to be able to feel comfortable. I don't want your son to be taken, not taken from you, but I don't want him to be...
God, oh my God, I know I would, like, be devastated.
Right. I just don't want your husband to try to keep him from you. But in terms of other types of needs, do you have any issues getting to doctor's appointments or making your appointments for yourself? I know with post-surgery, we probably have some appointments coming up just to follow up and make sure that everything's healing okay. I know you said you had some issues with your stitching originally, so I'm sure that's only complicated recovery.
That was while I was in the hospital, so
okay.
Luckily they were able to take care of that. No, everything's good. I actually just went for a checkup like 2 hours before you came.
Oh, great. Okay.
And I went, and my friend took me, actually, before she went to class. And I'm good. So I'm healing okay. They just want to make sure that I don't go back to work, and it's hard because the place I work, like, I'm written off of work. They have my doctor's note, but of course my boss was like, if you want to come back, I won't say anything.
Okay.
But I don't want to do that because I bartend, so all the reaching and stuff, I don't want to further injure myself.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do the right thing by staying off of work. I mean...
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, my mom is the source of stress for me, so I don't even...
I can see the frustration in your...
I only call her when I absolutely need her.
And...
Yeah. And she's only coming today because I gave her my debit card so she could get groceries, so I had stuff for my son, but yeah.
I was going to say, I noticed you keep checking, just looking over. You seem a little bit apprehensive about it.
Yeah, well, she should be here in like 3 minutes or so, but yeah, it's just, she's like of no help with this whole thing with my ex. She's very like, you should have stayed married, you should have stuck it out, like... Not
supportive of the separate...
Right. So I have a lot of guilt with that because I feel like maybe I did the wrong thing, you know. But then I talked to him and realized he's a total jerk and I did the right thing. So, and other than that, like, those are the only people I have. I'm from another state. None of my family's here except my mom, my friend who's working and going to school full time. So I don't really have other people, you know.
Right. I mean, if there's anything that you'd like to get involved in the community, I can definitely be a resource to you in helping find those for you. If you have anything of particular interest to you that you might like to get out and do. But I also just wanted to ask you, in terms of this program, do you think that you have any specific goals that you want to meet with me? I mean, moving on from here, we're going to be a team. And I'm going to help you get any services and resources you need. I will definitely be someone that you can talk to and vent to whenever you need. You can always call my office when I'm there.
Thank you.
And even when I'm not, I do have my cell phone on me that if in case of an emergency that you're always welcome to call if nothing can wait or anything like that. So I just wanted to see where you were at and make sure that you were okay with this program, and just to see if you had any questions for me, really, moving forward with it as we wrap up here.
Yeah, my mom should be here in like a minute, but can we try to figure something out with my ex about my son?
Okay. We can definitely explore some different avenues, and I can help research what you might need
really
to do
like
in
my
order
biggest
to get...
concern right now.
Right. Right, and there aren't any reasons why he should be withholding your son from you. So it might have to turn into a legal issue, which is unfortunate, but we want to make sure that there aren't any other steps that you can take in order to prevent that almost from happening and try to mediate the situation beforehand.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
Yeah, and like I said, if there are any other issues that you have or concerns or, you have a fight with your ex and he's not going to bring your son over, you're welcome to call my office whenever you would like.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, I'm very glad to meet you. It was a nice,
Thank you.
it was a great first visitation, I think, and we could really continue to do this. I can place a follow-up call to you in about a week, and I'll see how you're doing,
Okay.
and we'll set up a next visitation from there.
Yeah, thanks for coming here. I was like, I can't get there for something else. It's,
Right.
like, so painful.
Right, and I completely understand. So we can keep doing visitations until your recovery is better, and then we can figure out from there what we want to do, how we want to go about it, whether it's phone calls or visitations or both or whatever is tailored to you that you need. Okay? Great.
I'll walk you out, Taylor.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.